My name is Alicia, and today we are going to talk about how to make future tense questions. In this lesson, I'm going to focus on the question forms of simple future tense grammar patterns. I'm going to focus on using going to, like I just did, and will. We'll also practice using the negative forms, especially to make confirmation questions.
I'm Dr. Amy
So
Cohen.
I hope this will be a good lesson for maybe beginner or lower intermediate level learners, but also this is something that's I think is really good to practice because in our making these questions. So this will be the focus for today's lesson. As you join, please send a message in the chat so we can say hi to you. And of course, please make sure to like and share the lesson as well so that other people can find today's topic. Okay. Very quickly, a couple of short announcements, and then I will say hi to everybody as they join the chat. The first thing is this banner at the bottom of the screen. There is a 31% off sale. If you check the link below the video on YouTube or above the video on Facebook, if you want to study with us at EnglishClass101.com, you can get 31% off our Premium and Premium Plus plan. So there are a bunch of different bonuses you can get there, your own teacher and voice recording tools, bunch of stuff. So check the link below or above the video to find details about that. Okay, as always, the other announcement I want to share with you is about our weekly Q&A series. This is a question and answer series called Ask Alicia, where you send me your questions and I answer them. Maybe. So you can send me your questions. I maybe will choose yours. I maybe will answer your question. So please, if you have questions about anything really, it can be about today's topic, just something you think of later. You can send it to me for this series at EnglishClass101.com/ask-Alicia. There's a link in every episode of this on the English Class 101 YouTube channel, so check it out there. Okay, that's all for announcements. I will say hi to everybody who has joined us live, and then we'll begin today's lesson. I will come to you first, YouTube. Hello, Gerson, Oscar, Kanmaljit, BK Kaur. Hello, MR Gonem. Hello, Gede Kelly. Hello. Hi, everybody. Welcome. And on Facebook. Where are you, Facebook? Are you there? Facebook's there. Great. Hi. If you're just joining, I am broadcasting from my home, so that's why it looks a little bit different if you have not joined one of our live lessons recently. Hi, everybody on Facebook. Amina. I lost it. Amina, Emmanuel, Quiroa. Hello, everybody. Great. I see lots of people have joined. Axel from Mexico. Hello. Okay. Let's get started on today's lesson then. First, I'm going to show you today's lesson boards. This is our flow for today. Okay, so first, we're going to talk about yes and no question patterns. So we're going to focus in each part today, in these two parts, on going to and will. So this part will be yes or no questions. Part 2, information questions. So those who, what, where, when, why questions. And last, I'm going to talk about some tips, like how to choose will or going to, and how to use probably as well with this grammar point. So let's begin. If you have questions or example sentences, send them in the chat. I will try to check yours live, but there are a lot. Okay, so let's get started. Facebook. Okay, I have Facebook here too. Oh, Facebook, I forgot to share you. I'll share you, Facebook. Sorry. Okay, good. Okay, Facebook is shared. I'm ready to go. I'm going to start the lesson now. Let's begin. So first, we're going to talk about making yes or no questions with going to, first of all. So at the end of today's lesson, I will review the key points, but I want to start today's lesson by reminding you that we use going to for things we've decided. We decided this plan before the conversation. We're 100% sure of this plan. We use will for things we decide during the conversation, like we make our decision in that moment. Also, we use it for guesses and to talk about things we're not 100% sure about. So I will review this later too. Okay, let's look at yes and no question patterns. Yes and no question patterns with going to. Here we have is or are. This is the basic pattern to use to make a yes or no question with going to. is or are subject going to infinitive verb. So a reminder, the infinitive verb forms are just the basic dictionary forms, to plus the verb. That's the infinitive form. I have is or are here. We need to choose is or are depending on our subject. So let's look at some examples of this. First, are you going to call him? Are you going to call him? At native speed, this sounds like, are you going to call him? Are you going to call him? So another key point, or a key pronunciation point for today, is this going to. We reduce going to gonna. Gonna. And you might see native speakers use gonna in texts as well. Going to, though. We use going to in a sample sentence like this. Are you going to call him? Or is he going to reply? Is he going to reply? So, according to our subject, we make this decision, is or are. So, if my subject is you, I use are. Are you going to? We do the same thing for we. Are we going to? Are they going to? So, this is a rule that depends on the subject. Then is we use for he, she, and it subjects. Or if you have another object, we use the is pattern. Is he going to reply? I also included here negative patterns. We use negative forms of these questions, same thing down here, for confirmation. So confirmation means we want to check something in the other person. We think something is correct and we want to check. We use a confirmation pattern to do that. That means we use this negative form. What does that mean? That means this part, my is or are part at the beginning, becomes negative. I add not to this. So this becomes, is not she going to come to the meeting? That's what it really means. We don't say that though. We don't use that. We say isn't. We don't use is not, actually. We always use this reduced form. Isn't she going to come to the meeting? This means, I think she's going to come to the meeting. Is that right? So we use this pattern, this negative pattern, when we want to confirm, we want to check something. Glow on Facebook says, when can we use gonna? Is it formal or informal? Basically, in everyday speech, we use gonna a lot. We generally, usually in everyday speech, we try to make sounds quick and efficient and short. So if you're talking with your friends, if you're talking with your co-workers, usually we use gonna. I probably use gonna in this series most of the time, unless I want to be super, super clear. When you are writing something formal, like a business message or something like that, and you need to be polite, you should definitely use going to. Actually, a good rule for that, if you're writing something and it's not a text message to your friend or your family member, it's not a post on social media, use going to. Use going to. If you're not sure, use going to. But you can use gonna in everyday life situations. Okay, good. Some examples are coming in. Tony Toon says, are you going to go to Japan this week? Good, nice one. Kanmalji has used ain't. Ain't is as kind of a dialect, a way of speaking. Yeah, ain't. You can also use ain't in these patterns. I won't cover that today, but good point. Gertrude says, aren't you going to visit your father in the hospital? Perfect. Good. Okay. Jermaine says, are you going to the movies today? Good. So make sure, of course, you can use just going as well. Are you going to the movies today is good. Perfect. Also, are you going to go to the movies today? Also good. Okay. Facebook, other questions. Xiang says, are you going to Thailand with your friend? Perfect. Very nice. Someone has a statement. Abdiel says, Alicia is going to explain the lesson, maybe. So good. Okay, that sounds great. So let's continue to the second point then, will. Let's talk about will. So again, we use will for decisions we make in the conversation, yeah? When we're not sure about something as well, when we want to make a guess, when we want to think about the far, far away future, we use will in these cases. These examples really are about like decisions we make in the moment. So the pattern here is will plus subject plus infinitive verb, will, subject, verb. So it's a very basic pattern. But we use this, again, for decisions we need to make now. So this point right here, because this pattern is very easy to remember, many learners tend to use this one a lot. They use it too much. They should use going to, but they use will because this pattern is easier, I think. For example, many of my students in the past, they often said, "What will you do this weekend?" which is not natural. There's no communication problem, but it's not natural. I'll talk about those questions later. Please make sure to use this pattern for questions or for questions you want to ask about like some detail in the moment. For example, will you help me now? Will you help me right now? Or will she be angry? Will she be angry? So we use these. This first one is like, will you help me in this moment? So please make a decision now about helping me. That's this question. Not, are you going to help me? Are you going to help me? Sounds like you decided that before the conversation, which is maybe not possible if just now I decide I need help. So, will she be angry is a little bit different. Will she be angry is making a guess. To imagine something in the near future, and we're making a guess about this. You sound a little less sure about that. Okay. Good. Ahmed says, will you please focus? Yeah, good. Nice example sentence. Jack says, will you dance with me? Good. Okay. Salma says, will you come to her house? Good, good, good. Okay, sounds great. Will they help me? Madrista, oh, okay, he took away his message. Okay. Tareen says, will you share this food? Good, good, good. Or will you share that food as well? Good, good, good. Okay, that sounds great. Ruban says, what is the difference between will and shall? Great question. I made a video about this somewhere. I think it's in an Ask Alicia episode, but I can't remember which one. So I'll explain quickly here. Will, see this? This is a request. Right? Will you help me? I need something from you. Or will she be angry? I'm making a guess about the future. Shall is used to offer something. Shall I help you? Like, do you need something? Or shall we go? No, you're making a suggestion. We don't use these in those ways. Will you is a request for something. Will she be angry? That's a guess about the future. Shall is used to make an offer for something, so we cannot use them interchangeably. Okay, great question. Thanks for that. Glow again says, is the same grammar in British and American English? For this point, to the best of my knowledge, yes. Yes, the grammar here remains the same. Okay, let's go to the negative form. Again, we use the negative to make confirmation questions, to check something. So just as we practiced with going to, we use the negative form to check our understanding. For example, won't it rain tomorrow? Won't it rain tomorrow? So we use this to check our understanding of the weather in this case. So we cannot use will it rain tomorrow if we already think it's going to rain. So what does that mean? This question, using the negative here, an example situation. I'm making a plan with my friend. My friend says, let's have a picnic. And I think, I saw the weather report. I think it's going to rain, but I used this one, won't it rain tomorrow? Won't it rain tomorrow? To give the feeling that I'm a little unsure, yeah? So I could say, isn't it going to rain tomorrow? I could use this. That makes the certainty level higher. That's the difference between those two questions. So both of them are correct. Won't it rain tomorrow? And isn't it going to rain tomorrow? Totally correct, both of them. Won't it rain tomorrow sounds less sure. Sean says, can we use would instead of will in these patterns? No. You can use it in this one. It'll change the meaning. Would you help me? You can use for requests, yes. Would she be angry is talking about an unreal situation in the future. It'll change the nuance slightly. Okay, continuing to the last point, another negative example. Won't we need to go shopping before we cook dinner? Won't we need to go shopping before we cook dinner? So again, this is like a situation, you're making something with someone else, you're making dinner maybe, and you think, wait, I think we need to go shopping. And you confirm that. Wait, won't we need to go shopping before we cook dinner? Again, using the negative form makes your question softer. You could say, will we need to go shopping before dinner? To mean like, I'm not sure. But this negative pattern has that feeling of, I want to check with you. So you can use the negative patterns to create questions that are a little more fluent, questions that are a little bit more natural. So there's a little more nuance to these negative questions. Fuzail says, won't we holiday tomorrow? Like, won't we have a holiday tomorrow? So maybe, won't we have the day off tomorrow? You could use that, yeah, if you want to confirm the next day is a holiday. Okay. Jesus Santini says, on Facebook says, won't they come tomorrow? Perfect, good, good, good. You expect someone. So there's expectation with these confirmation questions. Okay, sounds good. All right, that is part 1. That was great. Yes, no questions. So I'll take one quick break and then we'll go to part 2. Fantastic. Quickly then, if you missed it, there is a 31% off sale on our website. You can find the link below the video if you're watching on YouTube in the description, and you can find the link above the video if you're watching on Facebook. Check it out. Yeah, there's links. Actually, I think there's a bunch of stuff in there for you to check out. As always, if you don't check that, you can find, if you're watching on YouTube, you can find links to all of our Facebook pages and Twitter and stuff like that. So check it out. Okay. Let's go to part 2. If you're just joining, we are talking about this topic. We are talking about future tense questions, practicing making future tense questions today. So now we're going to go to part 2. Also, if you have not, please make sure to like and share this lesson so other people can find it. Okay, let's look at today's lesson boards. If you want to take a screenshot, get ready. Here's what we're talking about. I just talked about part 1. Now we're going to talk about part 2, information questions. So that means who, what, where, when, why questions. Let's go. Okay. All right, let's go. So future tense questions, information questions. When we need to get some information, more than just yes or no or confirmation. How do we do that? Let us practice. So let's talk about going to first again. So let's look at the pattern. The pattern we use for going to is here. You might see this pattern, is or are, subject going to verb. This is the same as the yes or no pattern we practiced, yeah? Oh, so that's pretty easy, right? So to make an information question, we add a WH question at the beginning. So WH question means who, what, when, where, why, how as well. How doesn't start with WH, but we use it in the same position. So we put this question here and we get an information question. Where are you going to go? Where are you going to go? Or what is he going to do? Or when is the package going to arrive? At native speed, these questions sound like, where are you going to go? What's he going to do? When's the package going to arrive? So to return to our point earlier about going to, we make this gonna in everyday speech. And these, where are and what is and when is, these sounds also reduce. So where are becomes whereer. At least in my American English accent, it becomes whereer. Where are you going to go? Where are you going to go? This what is, so questions with this is afterwards, these become reduced. So not what is he going to do, but what's he gonna do? What's he gonna do? What's he gonna do? Same here. When is, we make this shorter too. When is becomes when's. When's the package gonna arrive? When's the package gonna arrive? So we use these reductions in speech. We do not write this, we don't write what's apostrophe S in formal letters in like business emails, for example. Alvin says, can we use does it rain tomorrow? No, that is incorrect. You can use will it rain tomorrow or is it going to rain tomorrow, depending on the situation. Okay? Onward. Okay. Let's compare this to will. So again, to make our information question with will, we use will. We have this pattern, will, subject, verb. Same as the yes or no pattern we practiced in the beginning, yeah? This part, WH question, comes at the front of the question. So let's read these examples and then I'll share some tips about using will, because questions with will, as I said, are tricky. Learners tend to use will too much. You should use going to. So, for example, what will you do if the weather is bad tomorrow? What will you do if the weather is bad tomorrow? And where will you put this artwork if you buy it? Where will you put this artwork if you buy it? So you'll notice these two questions, I included an if part here, if you buy it, or if the weather is bad tomorrow. We use will in these questions, again, when we want the other person or we expect the other person to make a decision in that moment. So, what will you do if the weather is bad tomorrow? Means I don't expect you to already know. We're just imagining, so please decide now. That's the idea. Same thing here. I'm shopping, I find some cool art, and I think, I want to buy it. Someone says, where will you put this artwork if you buy it? So, meaning decide now or explain now. Going to is for things we expect were decided before the conversation. They're already very sure things, yeah? So some people were saying like for example, the question Sean Mehandi on YouTube just wrote, what will you do tomorrow? What will you do tomorrow? So that question is typically, what are you going to do tomorrow? When you talk to your coworker, so this is a point I hope everybody takes from today's lesson. When you talk to your coworker, you talk to your friend, whatever, about your weekend, don't say, what will you do this weekend? Like to ask about their plans. When you want to ask about someone's plans, they decided before the conversation, use, what are you going to do this weekend? What are you going to do tomorrow? You're asking about something that was decided before the conversation. If you use will, it sounds unnatural. So please, that's one huge point I always hope everybody takes from going to and will lessons. That is a very common expression I hear that is very unnatural. Okay. Yeah, some examples are coming in. What are you going to do? Good. Where are you going to go shopping today? Tedros on Facebook. Where are you going to go shopping today? Amadrista says, what shall we do tomorrow if the weather is bad tomorrow? Okay, that works too. You can use shall in that way. Shall because you're making like a suggestion. Last point here in part 2 is about negatives, negative sentence patterns with these. We can make them, but they're not so common. For example, you might hear something like this among native speakers who are close friends. They might use a pattern like this. Where aren't you going on your trip to Hawaii? Where aren't you going on your trip to Hawaii? So what does this mean? If, for example, I make a trip to Hawaii, I plan a trip to Hawaii, and I'm going everywhere. I'm going to this island and that island and that big city. I'm going to every place in Hawaii. And my friend hears this and they're like, wow, where aren't you going? So in other words, what places are you not planning on visiting? We can use this negative pattern, but it's not so common. You might hear it from time to time. Okay, some questions are coming in. What will you eat if you start a diet? Maybe if you start a diet, Violetta on Facebook. What will you eat if you start a diet? Sounds good. Okay. Tony says, where will you put this anime figure if your grandmother comes? Oh, that's interesting. Great example. Okay, Chosen says, what are you going to do this weekend? Yes, Perfect. Please use going to in that pattern to ask your friends about their plans. What are you going to do this weekend? Okay. Noemi says, what is the difference between going to and will? That's the focus of today's lesson. So please watch today's lesson. I've talked about it. I'm going to review it in part 3. So please continue watching. Okay. Isha says, what are you going to do today? Perfect. Great example. Great example. Okay. That's all for part 2. So let's take one very short break and then we'll go to the burning question. Will or going to? Oh my gosh. Okay. If you missed it, there is a 31% off sale from the link below the video if you're watching on YouTube, or above the video if you're watching on Facebook. You can get 31% off our lesson plans for Premium and Premium Plus users. So check it out if you want to study with us. That would be super, super cool. Okay. Lastly, I'll show you our lesson boards very quick. Take a picture if you like, a screenshot. We talked about yes or no questions in part 1, information questions in part 2. Lastly, we are going to talk about tips. Should I use will? Should I use going to? And how do I use probably? Probably is a great word to put together with these. We use probably a lot. If you haven't, please make sure to like and share this video so other people can find today's lesson. That would be super, super cool. Okay, onward. Tips. So I have been talking about this all lesson. So in case you need another reminder, going to and will. Going to and will. How do I choose? Should I use will? Should I use going to? I never know. Here's a good guide. Going to. You're 100% sure about the plan. Or it's for a strong decision. Or you decided this before the conversation. Okay? For will, use will when you are not 100% sure, when you want to make a guess about something, or for things you decided during the conversation. Okay? So this is the guide for going to and will. You can use this with today's lesson content. Okay? Faru says, is it possible to put the word go after going to? Yes, I'm going to go to a place. I'm going to go away. I'm going to go somewhere. Yes, absolutely. Okay. M. Ramadan says, the link isn't working. The link isn't working. Oh, we'll test it out. We'll see if it works. Please try again if you want to check the link on Facebook. Otherwise, check YouTube. If you have trouble on Facebook, check the YouTube link. Okay. Last point for today is about probably. Probably. We use probably to increase certainty in positive sentences and to decrease certainty in negative sentences. So certainty, what is certainty? This word here, certainty. To decrease certainty or increase certainty. What does that mean? So that means, like, I want to express not a 100% sure plan, like 80%. So I'm probably going to. So let's imagine a scale. I'm going to is 100%. I'm probably going to. It's like 80, 90%. It's a good chance. I'll probably is maybe around here, something like that. So we use probably with positives to talk about like higher levels of something, especially with will. And when we use it in the negative, we can decrease that feeling. I probably won't. So it kind of gives you that feeling of like decreased certainty. This is rare in questions though, so we're going to practice using it in positives. Okay? Let's go to examples because time is running out. Okay, so where are you probably going to go? At native speed, this sounds like, where are you probably going to go? Where are you probably going to go? Or, will he probably come to the meeting? Will he probably come to the meeting? You can use that. Or, I have a couple examples of negatives, but these aren't so common. It's just to give you an idea of how we sometimes use these. Aren't you probably going to need extra time to finish work? I've used this negative here because, again, we're doing a confirmation. We're making a confirmation question, right? aren't you probably going to need extra time to finish work? Probably here is like softening. Like, I think there's a pretty good chance, I'm not sure, I don't know. Same thing here. Won't he probably need help moving into his new apartment? So I think he will need help, but I want to check, so I use this negative form. Won't he probably need help moving into his new apartment? So we use these forms too to check, but generally we tend to use probably a lot in positive statements. I'm probably going to. So we have a high confidence level in something. And when you want to, I feel like this point probably is really super useful with will in statements more than questions. Like, I'll probably do something. So when you say I'll do this, like, oh, if it rains tomorrow, I'll go to the movie theater. If you want to increase that, like, I'll probably go to the movie theater. That increases that level of certainty. Okay. All right, that is everything. Rendell says, how do you pronounce probably in native speech? Ah, good question. In my American English accent, probably in native speed sounds like probably. I'm probably gonna go. So probably or probably. We use both of those, probably. But when we use it as a one-word response, like probably sounds natural too. So I hope that helps you. Jermaine, yeah, I probably won't go out today. Good. Example. Oh no, probably you'll get corona. Oh no, says Omar. Okay. Others. Irfandi has 2 good comparative questions. I'm going to meet you this afternoon, and I'll probably meet you this afternoon. Good. Nice examples. Hayapon says, what's the difference in pronunciation between want and won't? Want. So want, if it helps you with those vowel sounds, want, you can imagine want is like a tall sound, want, and you can imagine won't as like a round sound, yeah? Want versus won't. Want and won't. Okay, I have to finish because I'm late. So thank you for your great questions. I have to end there. I hope that this was helpful for you. Oh, I'll show today's lesson boards one more time so you can take a picture if you like. Here you go. Ah, so here's today's lesson topics, will and going to, and so on. If you have questions, I'm going to take this away now, so I hope you got your picture. Here they go. Okay, so if you have questions about will and going to, I'll put a link in the YouTube description to my lesson about this topic. I have a couple lessons about this topic you can review. So I can't edit the Facebook version, so if you're watching on Facebook and you would like to get some review information, please check the English Class 101 YouTube channel for this video. I will put some links in the description there so you can check and review today's lesson points and get some more example sentences too. I hope that helps. Okay, I'll finish there. Next week, of course, I'll be back. I am going to be here again next week. Next lesson will be October 21st, Wednesday, October 21st, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Oh, daylight savings time might be coming though soon. I need to check. So if you want to make sure to join, please set a notification on Facebook or on YouTube to join live. Next week, I'm going to make a lesson about how to talk about your current work and projects. Your current work means the work you do now or the projects you have now. So you can use this for work or your studies too, of course, or maybe like your creative projects, your hobbies and things. So please join me again next week to practice these points. Should be a good time. Okay, with that, I will say goodbye. So thanks very much for all of your great questions. Thank you for liking and sharing the video. We really, really appreciate it. And please don't forget to check out the 31% off sale. Check the link below the video on YouTube or above the video on Facebook for all the details. So enjoy the rest of your day, enjoy your week, and have a nice weekend. I will see you again next time. Bye!